Leslie and Carrie are not going to be happy about that. I apologize. But I think more than record it, let's commit ourselves to living it. That'll be a record worthy of our review. We're going to begin with eyes open then, calling to mind those for whom we want to practice. And in the Bodhisattva path, we see that as igniting uh, the open heart, or somebody might say the heart beyond one's small concerns. You know what I mean by that? Beyond my interests, beyond my wanting, beyond that small mind. And so we can bring ourselves to mind as well. But then we have to be watchful because in our Western culture, we have a habit for using prayer as a path to getting what we want. And in this practice, we aren't looking for comfort. We aren't looking for pleasure. We aren't looking to have our desires realized. We are looking for the capacity of clear seeing so that we can truly join the sacredness of this life and then be of benefit. And so we call not only ourselves, but others to mind. And because I'm doing that, I'm noticing the holding the eye open for that open space. I can call more than people. I can call the bird that just flew by, the green of the plants and its beauty, and the wish for all of its well being to mind. And once you have named a few things, you can rest the eyes. And then I'd like you to rest in that vast, open, silent space all around you. The sacredness, then also of that silence, of that stillness. And with that out breath, we dissolve the sense of separation, the barriers of mind between us and this sacred world. We let it go a little bit more beyond the end of the out breath into that sacredness that is everywhere in all directions, including everything. And as we're dissolving the layers, these layers of conditioning, of narrating, of fabricating, of thinking, we might run into what Chogyam called that queasy tenderness, the achy, breaky truth of this human heart. And we don't try to get rid of it, we don't try to bypass it. We actually allow, we are creating enough room and space that we're not just reacting from the limited belief thoughts that all unpleasantness is bad. This breaking of the heart is the truth of the acknowledging of the sacredness of this world and everything in it, including this achy, tight, queasy, whatever it is you're opening into. By your very staying with, by your very moving closer, by your very accepting, allowing, and opening, we are bowing to the sacredness of even this shaky, queasy tenderness, this vulnerability of being alive just now. And then we notice, don't we, if we stay, that there's a moment where the mind moves off into the thought about. And we smile once again at that recognition, that wisdom, that clear seeing, and the sacredness of even this. And we bow once again. We bow to the stillness of this body, the stillness within the breath, around the breath, at the end of the breath. And then that radiant light of awareness that shines in all directions. And then we begin to notice that though the out breath is still there, it is just one of the objects occurring in this vast, open, radiant sky-like quality of mind. And that everything, including that breath, is also a part of this sacred world. And then we remember that in each moment of our path, our awakening, our seeing clearly, our open heartedness, we are the candle that lights the world and beyond. And that's not a grandiosity, that's a simple truth. If there's one person who has peace in their hearts, there is peace. One mind that has joy, then joy is alive. One person who holds love, this unconditioned and friendly love in their hearts, then love is alive and present and offered to the whole of the world. And we offer all this to the end of suffering and the wish for happiness, for ease, for well being and peace in the whole of this sacred world. And may it be of benefit to ourselves, to our loved ones, and all beings this very day. May it be so. So be it. So there we are, a part of the sacredness. Cannot be separate, even when you're not in the mood. Right? Even when you didn't want to be the one today. Right? Still you. Take a look at chat and then we'll go to our, yeah, Joyce had to go. We're going to get on to, um, mm, just realized I read this from a different place. So we'll see what we can do. Got these weird things in front of my, that's interesting. Let's see if we can get rid of those. Can, uh, can everybody see that? Share screening. Okay, here we go. And I do have some things selected for us. So can everybody see Sacred World here at the beginning of chapter 6 from Smile at Fear?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. I can't see you guys anymore. And so here is, there was a lot for me in this first few pages. So I'm going to just see if I can scan for a moment and pick out. So, really, what he says at the beginning in that very first paragraph is the experience of sacredness brings together the heart and the head, right? Remember, he's calling that the sun and the moon. The moon in your heart and the sun in your head. We talked about that last week, how that's a little different than our own often understanding of that. Um, uh, and also the feminine, masculine qualities of that can be different. And I would say, rather than get stuck in which one's masculine, which one's feminine, that we could see them both as holding it all, with a particular focus in the Tibetan tradition on the radiance of the sun being clear seeing mind, and the moon being the shining in the dark, right? The shining, the heart, most importantly, needing to be shined in the dark. If you could remember it in that way, that there is always that radiance, though, I think is probably the point of the light and those light sources, always potential for responding to the sacredness of this world. He says this is really the path of this bodhisattva path, or the warriorship, he calls it. That's sometimes hard for us. Um, the warrior's path is to be bringing these qualities uh, into the sacred world, and recognizing then also the world itself as sacred, and you in it as sacred as well. And then he says, but sometimes we get caught in the wretched familiar me, like a lead shoe that weighs us down. Isn't it true? The minute we buy in to that scarcity narrative, that not enoughness, that trance of unworthiness, that why me? Why not me? Why can't, how couldn't I have a different moment or a different outcome or a different partner or a different something? We are shrinking this infinite sacred capacity of us into these small moments of uh, heart mind in preferencing or bias, or just the simple act of wanting something else. When we do that, it says in Pink, there is space to fall in love with ourselves in the positive sense. What he's saying there is, of course, when we just accept ourselves as we are this moment, there is already a kind of invitation to opening, an invitation to the sacred. And we don't buy in, maybe, so much to this is all I'm capable of, or this is all I am, or we don't get caught in the right, because we have to be able to turn towards the Joe Schmo-ness. I forgot whatever he called it. Joe Schmidt. I think he calls it Joe Schmidt. Um, uh, not as being wretched, but maybe just as a part of being human. And that, can we not bring a certain sacredness to that just by its recognition, and then its acknowledgement? Me just like everybody. And then we'd have to be willing to open to and everybody just like me as well. Then making that uh, reality sacred, right? We expand continuously this positive aspect of our world and ourselves in it. You can see our world as sacred, then he writes, which is the key to bringing together that heart and mind. Sacredness comes from developing gentleness, and I love the use of that word, towards ourselves. Then the irritation with being with oneself, and often the irritation with being with oneself is shown how? By being irritated with another. It's not actually true. Remember, we know already that the judgments that you have turned against the self just end up being the same ones we project out and onto the world, right? And so recognition of that is also understood to be skillful. Sacredness comes from developing that gentleness. Then the irritation of being with oneself is taken away. When that kind of friendliness to oneself occurs, then one also develops the friendliness towards the world. And then the world becomes sacred. See, the world did not change. What changed was your opening, your own gentleness, your own contribution to this world and its capacities. Now we remember that here it is, here we are in this sacred world. And he says we develop a sense of humor. Sacredness is not trying to look on the bright side. This is that pasting on this sort of positivity and using that as a stepping stone to getting what we want. Really, we don't use sacredness as an all positive, everything goes my way. Then I see the sacredness of the world. The path is harder. It says we really are required, then, aren't we, to bring a certain quality of our own heart mind into every moment, really, making it sacred by our very appearance. These activities, whatever we hear, wherever we are, whatever we see, whatever we think, all these activities then have a sense of holiness or sacredness in them because they are known. And known not by just the gripping, grabbing, seeking, wanting mind, but by the whole mind. It goes, yes, this too, right? In fact, when Joko died, uh, some time before she died, the last thing she said was, "This too is wonder." Even this dying. Uh, my grandfather said, "Wow," right? The sacredness of this. And he started saying it to everything. And I was actually remarking about, like, he's just in wonder of everything, right? Nothing's shut down anymore. No preferences. No, got to have it that cookie, or it's got to be like this, or not so much. Really, just you could see him expand right before your eyes in the opening to the wonder of everything. Sharp corners begin to dissolve, and the darkness begins to lift in our lives, but not only, also in the lives of others. It says, at the point of realizing this, we become decent human beings and real warriors. We need to remind ourselves over and over that this approach always has to be accompanied. Here it is. This is why I underline this, by the sitting practice of meditation. Not only, by the way, but also. It is not enough just to sit. The cushion time is essential, and it is not enough alone, because you can become disconnected and separate and just like your own stillness, right? Like, meh, world over there, me somewhere over here, and we will all pass through some parts of that on the path as a protection and a bubble rather than as a continuing opening. Meditation acts as the training ground, a strong hold, and out of that, the seed of friendliness to oneself is planted, because we have to get friendly with the whole of the qualities of this heart mind, including the ones we don't like. Sacredness means that fearlessness is carried out throughout everyday life situations, including brushing your teeth and washing the dishes. Fearlessness takes place all over the place, all the time. What is that fearlessness, do you think? Being open to the present moment completely, right? Look at the guts of that. Belly up, my family would say, because we have to walk into it, don't we? Fully open, open-hearted, soft body, just here. What's here? What's in this? And it requires an essential fearlessness, even the one that can then hold what? Our fear. It's that big. It's capable of even that. And then he goes on, the warrior's discipline is not an expression of aggression. We've talked about this many times, but is a guard against one's own aggression. Oh, I wouldn't only say aggression, but I would say also, but is a guard against one's own deluded, wanting, uh, greedy, right, quality of fear. And we know we can't get aggression. Aggression does not exist without fear. We actually know that the mother of all aggression is, in fact, fear, right? We know this, really. And then we can become awakened and good human beings. Unconditional fearlessness is cheerful and very light. Well, Lynn was talking about that. I'm noticing more joy in the showing up, in the recognition of the sacred in me and in then every one and everything. For the warrior, there is no doubt. There are no second thoughts about anything anymore. We simply step in. We just go. We don't even go, what if it's what if I didn't like it? What if it's the wrong color? We just open. We just commit ourselves to opening. And that's the bow as well, isn't it? I'm opening to this exactly as it is. If victory is the notion of no enemy, then the whole world is a friend because we're recognizing the sacredness in it all. The true warrior always has a weapon. And what is that weapon? The weapon is that opening, that open heartedness, that clear seeing mind, and that fully present, fully available body, because we use that apparatus, right, to know where we and how we really are. Cowardly people carry guns because they are so cowardly, so afraid. Do you think that has to do with our gun laws here? The definition of warriorship then is fearlessness and gentleness. Those are our weapons. The genuine warrior becomes truly gentle because there is no enemy at all. And I love that line. The education of the warrior. I didn't I did underline. This is where I went to a different source to do the underlining. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on this chapter. I'm going to let you guys tell me. I'll go to my version and see what I thought was um, most important. But as I'm doing that, why don't you all come on and tell me what you felt was relevant here? I think that'd be a nice way to do this chapter. I thought it had a message, but I didn't feel like any particular thing he said in it was stood out particularly uh, for me. So anybody come on, see what did you think was important? What did you underline while I'm looking for my version? And I found it here. I went on to chapter 2. We have fearful mind. We have a fearful mind. That fearful mind is the mentality of those who are still taking pleasure in hibernating in the cocoon. Oh, that was a pretty important. He uses this cocoon a little bit throughout. So I'm going to underline that here again. I did it here. Um, the cocoon is what? Our secure seeking, comfort seeking qualities of mind, the one that wants it to be the way we want it. And so that was one of the things um, because of that cocooning, he will use that word several times. I don't have anything else in there. I then have, we gently take the cocooners out of their cocoons and we place them instead in the cradle of loving kindness, hoping that they will not be bothered by being disturbed. We take the cocooners out of their cocoon. And that was in the sometimes I can't find. Okay, here it is over here. We take the cocooners out of the cocoon. Um, and so I thought that was useful as well. And then we go on. We take pride in such persons and regard them as would be warriors. We take pride, here it is, in such persons and regard them as would be warriors, in spite of all their bad behavior. The point of this chapter, then, as I'm looking at what I have underlined, is that the open heart is an essential component. This cradle of loving kindness was the word that's sticking with me here. This cradle of loving kindness is a part of this vast open space in which we hold the whole of the sacred world. And he is turning now towards the heart practices as essential towards uh, uh, bringing to cultivating is probably the word, a way to say it, this sacred world. Anybody see anything here that you have underlined? He says it is our job essentially to help others also evolve. And our own open heartedness is the good medicine uh, around which the cocooner, the one wanting just what they want, will um, eventually emerge. What I don't think this means then, I don't think it means this, is that we are loving and saccharine in it. I don't think it means that we just let whatever's happening happen. I don't think it means that we just go, well, that's just the way it is. I don't think it's passivity. I don't think it's Pollyanna-ish. I don't think when he says the heart of loving kindness, he says, with all the love in your heart, we will commit ourselves to the right, the reality of the sacred world and the evolution and the expanding of it, which will mean things like doing things we sometimes wouldn't normally do. It might mean saying something you might not always say something about, but with a certain gentleness as well as fearlessness. And that would be different, wouldn't it? Because we certainly could say what we think is true with a certain kind of rage or a certain kind of hostility or a certain kind of right against the other. And I think that's often how we do it. But he's saying, no, the truth of it would be that we would say it with a gentleness that would then, I think, be on what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Irresistible. It would then be irresistible. The truth would then be irresistible in its gentleness and in its fearlessness. Then I have underlined here in the atmosphere of fearlessness, the cool shade of fearlessness, you wave the fan of joy and happiness. But you don't overfeed the cocooners the thick and sweet milk, or let them stay completely enveloped in their small domestic situation. You want them to experience some sense of the bigger picture, the bigger atmosphere. I would say the bigger possibility for both them and you. The bigger possibility for both them and you. And then we rest, he says, in the shade. He means the actual easeful, joyful place of fearlessness. At that point, when wakefulness begins to take place, the cocooner is finally transformed into a real warrior who will experience the rising of the great eastern sun. The great eastern sun, by the way, is the metaphor for what? Anybody have a guess? That great eastern sun is actually a metaphor. Coming back to open you up so I could see you. What do you think it's a metaphor for? The starting of the path, Libby says, birth. Any other ideas? I would, yeah.
The awakening of our awareness.
Awakening, enlightenment.
Loving light, loving light.
Sure, sure. We could say all of that, wouldn't it? And then it's all correct, isn't it? Because each moment we are birthing it, aren't we? We are not. This is the, I believe, part of the challenge of this path is we have to fully, wholly recommit every moment. There is no just rest in it. He says, no, you can rest in the shade of its offering. That's what he means by that, right? That you are that bright light, the candle in the darkness, right? These are all the metaphors. And then, yes, you can rest in the shade. All that will be propagated from it is then a part of the path. It doesn't just die or end there either. As I said today, I feel certain my day will be lived differently by my very clear seeing and awareness yesterday. That the whole of the day will, in no accidental way, be different. And I am grateful and joyful for them both, right? And that wasn't, I don't mean it wasn't easy. It was, I couldn't have guessed that except by staying present. I couldn't have gone, today will be a day when I clearly see this, and then the partner's going to go, wow, you're amazing because you're so clearly seeing this. Really know the clear seeing in me, and then the gentleness and fearlessness that is its result will be the shade that all others can rest in. And it's true. Okay, so let's review our work. Internal and external bowing may not look like a bow. We're going to expand the definition a little bit, though I would love for you to try for it because I think it's okay to be a little uncomfortable. I think it's okay to have somebody go, that's interesting. What are you doing? Right? Somebody did that to me the other day, last week, when I was bowing in the middle of the garden. And they came around the corner and said, oh, this is interesting. What are you doing? It looks like you're bowing at the plants. I said, I am. I am. And they go, oh, what did they say? Oh, that's why it's so beautiful. Look at that. Oh, we thought you just fertilized a lot. That's why it's so beautiful. And they are correct. And then it includes the fertilizer. It includes the attention, doesn't it? It includes all of it's right there in that moment. And the bow was simply one of the appreciation, celebration of it was just a part of the whole of it, right? So we're going to internally, externally, both try for the actual bowing. Jim does it at the beginning and end of a day. I'd say that's the minimum. That's great. Where can you find it in the day? Would be the next expansion of that. Yes, in the stillness, and yes, in full activity, in full engagement, in full participation with life, where's the room for that? See if you can't find that. And then I want you to remember the second thing we agreed to practice was remembering no matter what without complaint, without aggression, but with gentleness, can we remember the sacredness of this world? And we could add it at the end, we said, as our reminder of Joseph Goldstein at the end of the sentence, this is not going my way, and it is a sacred world. Right? I didn't want it this way, and it is a sacred world. I did something a little bit like this the other day. My husband was just kicking my rear end in cribbage. We play that together as a pastime as we're preparing dinner and waiting for things. And he just got the luckiest cards I've ever seen. Libby's the second luckiest, but there he was. Fives, five. You don't need to know the game. You just know there they just, and he just kept smirking. Right. Like, oh, I can't help it. I can't help it. I'm so brilliant and such a winner. And I thought, this is just like, ugh. And my temptation would be to say something like, you're just lucky. It doesn't make you smart. That would have maybe been something I might have said at one time. And the only thing I said was, this is an interesting world. I couldn't actually add the word sacred right there. This is an interesting world that, right, here it is. And can I just be in it gently and fully? And the answer is yes, I can. And this week, we're going to see if we can't see the sacredness then in everything, even someone else's good fortune, even someone else's lucky break, even the person who you know was not skillful or was not kind or was not, from your point of view, deserving. Can we go, yes, I will bow to the sacredness of this world, even here and in this, right? So that's the second practice, remembering and calling out this very moment, the sacredness of this world. It's number two, on the spot, everyday practice. And then we are going to read chapters 8 and 9, because we're going to get ready to head into the whole second part of the book, which is got a lot of real active practices in it as well. It is that part of the book that we will be bringing with us to the retreat, May 8, 9, and 10 at Quest Haven Retreat Center. You will have to go to encinitasmindfulness.org to sign up, even if you're coming for one day. And you may come for one day. That's called commuter. And that day is from 9 to 5 or so-ish. And I think it's $60 for the day. If you would like to be in residence, and we do have some people already signed up for that, thank you. That is a 2-evening minimum based on Quest Haven. That is their new requirement. However, you cannot stay over and join us every single day. And then the second thing I want to say before we go is that Lynn, you want to talk about Philabelly this week? We have Philabelly. I know I want to say hi before a couple people go. One is to Leslie in Israel, and the other one is Siobhan. They're in the Carolinas. Hi there. Good to see you. Good to see you. So good. Because we're going to talk for a minute about Philabelly, and that's coming up this Thursday. So I will send out a summary to you all with this practice. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday in the garden. And then, Lynn, I'm going to head this your way.
Okay. Everything's going great. We do have some empty spots for people who still want to contribute. We're short a main entree and a side dish right now. I've put my phone number in the chat in case anybody has a last minute opportunity to sign up for that. And I'll be sending out an email later today to everyone just to remind people of the address and the time and anything else they might need to make our event a success. So,
Right, thank you. It's only from 6 to 7:30, so it's not a large commitment of time. And we've been getting a pretty good crowd, I would say at least 40 to more people, I would say easily. And most of our food items have been well received and enjoyed and taken. And so that's, and it's delightful to participate in that way. And Leslie, thank you again. I hope you're well and feeling better. Um, Thank you for all the work Leslie does to get us onto YouTube, where we can watch these recordings when you miss or when you just want to review. Is there anything else as we think about moving into from this moment in the sacred world into the next? Anything else you all have thoughts about before we recite our Bodhisattva prayer? Anything there? Please go to sign up for the retreat. It's about a little less than a month away now, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. And I'm very excited about that. I love retreat time. It's so important and does really anchor all of our practice, I think, in a way that's important for us, um, which is why we're just offering it in these small, digestible ways. So, all right, I think we're good. I don't see anything else happening. Let's sit once again, coming back into this sacred, gentle, fearless body. These are all the words Chogyam uses to describe this capacity of ours. And one of my favorite instructions was from Sogyal Rinpoche, who would say, just sit there, do nothing. It's not quite true, but I loved the gentle beginning. And then we bring the hands, remember, in the bow, the hands to the heart, anywhere between the face, the throat, and the heart. And people have different places that feel comfortable for them. And we tuck those thumbs in, protection. And then we bow the head just a bit. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened, making this a very, very good day. So be. Look at all those beautiful bows. Make it a beautiful day. Make it a beautiful day. I'm counting on you, and you get to count on me too. I will look forward to seeing you all Thursday at 7 for practice and then 6 p.m. at United Methodist Church for Philabelly. I look forward to seeing you. Denise, I saw your hand up, so I don't know if that's just a wave. Um,
I wanted to just say thank you so much. And also, I would love to help you turn on sound for musicians on your Zoom settings so that way we can hear the bell.
I would love that, Denise. Holy cow, that would really be amazing. We haven't had a bell in years because we haven't been able to figure that out. How about if I reach out to you and we get that worked out before Thursday?
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Well, so exciting. Oh, thank you. I understand this as a generational problem, Denise. I know wholeheartedly that it is 100% something I just do
not,
not know
no,
how to
it's
do.
not. It's not. It's a hidden thing in Zoom. That's
We
not.
have looked many times, so thank you so much. That would be really delightful. I love the bell and see it as a part of what is sacred. As well. And so look forward to that. Yay, guys. Look at this. We're going to have the bell available to us again. I love that. Yay. Exactly. Thank you all so much again. Be well. Enjoy the day.